let's talk about the sponsorship message. So if you are an entrepreneur, high achiever, you're committed to discovering your purpose, truly mastering it, expanding and igniting your presence, and starting and launching and growing your platform. If you are interested or committed to any or all of those three, the 21-day challenge is here to help you get crystal clear on your long-term goals, break it down into bite-sized steps, and have 21 days of one-on-one accountability with me to achieve your top goal. You won't get it all done in 21 days, but you will get a massive powerhouse kick start. So if you're ready for that and you're interested, you're going to dive in and you're ready for the intensity, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com. Put it in the subject line, 21-day challenge, and you can find out more as well. Message me on Facebook. Would love to talk to you about your 21-day challenge. Next up is going to be the iTunes review of the week. And this week, let's put it up on the screen. Da-da-da-da. This week, it is Human Flame. It gets you going. Absolutely, it does. Thanks, Chris, for your energy and positivity that you bring. Love what you are bringing to the table. Thank you so much, Human Flame. I appreciate you. If you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, and you can give us a review there or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store. And while you're there, rate, review, subscribe to the episode so you can get even more of this goodness and grow into your GPS with us. It'll be a lot of fun, definitely. And thanks for letting us know what you love, what you want to see improved, and how we can serve you even better. Good or good. Very good. Now, I'm going to be introducing Denette in just another second here. Before that, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, be ready to take notes, be ready to absolutely soak up all this wisdom and fiery passion and experience so that you can grow into your greatest possible self, because Denette is going to bring it. Stay from start to finish, because that's where you truly get the most transformation. You never know what one idea can transform your entire life. So I'll see you at the other side of the interview. Let's interview Denette, or introduce her, I should say. As a personal trainer for the inner self, Denette has a 100% success rate with leading her clients into more confidence and fulfillment by reducing emotional baggage and increasing vulnerability. She also consults multiple businesses on how to create online content that inspires and oozes authenticity. She is a wizard with creative communication that has landed her the opportunity as a motivational speaker and a director of marketing for a company that sells franchises. And we are absolutely blessed to have her here with us today. Danette, are you ready to rock the house, superstar?
I'm ready. I'm ready because I have you on my team, Chris.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. We are in this race. We're about to create some freaking magic for everyone who is tuned in, Denette. So thank you so much for being here and just being you. You're awesome. You're just so powerfully self-expressed, putting out just like every time I see your content, it's short, it's sweet, it's memorable, and it punches through people's like noise that's going on social media, and you really stick in people's minds. So I really, really love what you're doing. It's powerful.
Yeah. And well, thank you, Chris. You kind of have a lot to do with that. You and I first spoke when I first started, and you helped me just because it's in your heart to help me. You wanted to see me thrive. And that's before we even got into a professional relationship. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Denette. Absolutely. And that's what I love to do, is to ignite people, have them come alive around me. And today's theme that we're going to be diving into is remembering how to have fun. And Denette, you have a boatload of fun. So how does this conversation of remembering how to have fun, how does that show up for you in your life?
To remember to have fun?
Yep.
Number one is be me regardless of who I'm around, regardless of who's judging me, regardless of who's looking at me, regardless of what anybody else is doing. I ignore all of that. I ignore all of society's standards. I ignore all of society's expectations, and I do me and I be me. And that allows me to have fun no matter what I'm doing. And actually, no matter what the circumstances. That's it.
I'm so excited. The people in your environment at the coffee shop, they're going to be like, this girl, damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's people around me, there's people looking, and a lot of times we don't feel comfortable enough to be on audio or being like this in front of people, in front of a public space. And that's when I'm like, okay, that's my opportunity to do something that nobody else is doing. So I'm going to go to the most crowded place and I'm going to do something like this. And it's fun. And then not only is it fun, but it inspires the people around you.
Yeah.
And then while you're at it, you're getting confidence,
Yes.
confidence to a whole new level.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. I love it, Denette.
Yeah.
This is so awesome. So for everyone who's just finding out about you, I mentioned it in the intro. Share a little bit more about who you are, what your clients come to you for, what you stand for.
Okay, well, I'm a life coach, but my clients have given me the name personal trainer for the inner self, which I actually like better because it's not very common. But sometimes I use life coach because not everybody understands what a personal trainer for the inner self is. And actually, my clients come to me for different reasons. It could be because they want more confidence, or because they want to have better relationships with their families, their spouses, their children. Some people want to do better on online marketing so they could increase the business brand or business awareness. So for different reasons, but honestly, what it all comes down to, whether they come to me for business, confidence, love, relationships, it all comes down to that one thing. And that's that one thing that we're talking about tonight. And it's that one thing that I'm obsessed and passionate about. And we'll get into that. But and I got into this because I was so unaware of myself and unaware of what I was capable of. And I was living this fake life and this fake image. And then I finally just got tired of it and then started this journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, and self-actualization. And as you know, Chris, you do it yourself. Once we realize our gifts with that, we are obligated to pass it on to the people around us. And that's how this whole thing started.
Yeah. Living in those gifts, that like is when we feel most alive. It's when the people around us are most served, and the most amount of value that we can deliver in the world is truly channeled through us. So I love it. And you're absolutely empowering people to go within, discover that inner self because of your own journey. It's amazing. So I want to go back into your like start. Where did it really start for you to start going inward, to go within and know who you are? Who is Denette?
Yeah, it took me a decade. It took me a decade of looking for anything or everything that wasn't me. So I would look for titles. I would look for my position in society. I would look for my status in society. I would look for how much money I was making, what, if I was buying a house or not, what kind of car I was driving, how much money I was making, if I was in a relationship or not. So I would use all of those things to think that's what made me me, and think that's what made my identity, and think that's what made my worth and value in this world. And so after a decade of putting it on, putting the responsibility onto something else like a job or titles or a relationship, love, even alcohol and even drugs, anything. After a decade of putting it on everything I could possibly find or think of, to understand my worth and understand my identity, I finally caved in. And I was like, okay, none of this is working. But from the outside looking in, it looked like I had everything together because I was making this money. Had this career. I had this type of car. I had this type of boyfriend. But really internally, I had no idea what motivated me. I had no idea what drove me to do what and why. I had no idea what brought me fulfillment because I was using everything else to bring me fulfillment. And so finally, what started was, I was like, okay, Denette, you gotta change something if you want a different life. As you know, if you want a different life, you need to do something different if you want different results, right? So the very first step I did was I Googled, I think my exact word is religion versus science. Okay, so I started researching, what does science say I need to do to be happy? And then I started researching, what does religion say I need to do to be happy? So I was like, okay, they're both transformational resources. And so maybe I'll go with both. And specifically, I really researched, it was Einstein and Tesla for the science, and it was Buddha and Jesus for the religion. Okay. And so the one thing that was common, the common factor amongst science and religion was, if you want to understand yourself, if you want a different life, understand yourself. And if you want to understand yourself, go spend time in nature. You spend time in nature, you will understand yourself. And if you understand yourself, you understand the world around you. So me not being a nature person, obviously, because I didn't want to be alone, because I needed everything else to make me feel good. I did not want to go spend time in nature by myself at all. You can imagine, right? That was like the worst thing to do.
You got so much energy, so much like drive to do, you're like, just go sit.
Yeah. Yeah, exact. What? Sit? That's something I've never done. I'm always go, go, go. And if I'm not physically go, 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 I'm mentally go, go, go.
Yeah.
And so it's never just what, like by yourself in nature. That sounded so stupid to me, but I did it. I forced myself to do it. And I would go to these random places all day long and just be in nature. And I would pay attention to the trees, and I'd pay attention to leaves and bugs and dirt and the sky and all this. I had no idea what I was doing, nor did I appreciate it, but I just kept doing it. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, this is why they say go spend time in nature. I started realizing how a leaf is a lot like us, or the complexity, the complexity with the simplicity in a leaf. It was similar to me, similar to my life. And I just started seeing these similarities between water and me and nature and me. And then that's what really kickstarted it. And then I was obsessed. I was like, okay, there's something here. And I just started hiring coaches. I started seeing a therapist. I started researching, YouTube, Google, reading books. I became this avid reader, and I started spending time alone, and then eventually meditating. And then that's what really led me to where I'm at today.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start diving into that journey within yourself. Like how did you know you were like going within? What are the signs that you were going within, and you're listening to yourself and you're connecting with those deeper levels?
That's such a good question, Chris. Good job. Good question. That's why you're so good at what you do. You ask good questions. You don't know, honestly, in the beginning, you don't know what you're doing, and you kind of feel like it's stupid and pointless, and you kind of feel like you're just isolating yourself for no reason. Like you're kind of being antisocial for no reason. Like if you kind of stick with it, then you start to realize, then you'll start to react to something. Let's say a circumstance or somebody says something to you that makes you feel uncomfortable. You are able, let's say they say something, you are able to stop yourself before you respond. And then you start realizing, wow, before I would have just reacted, before I would have just blown up, before I would have been hurt, before I would have been devastated, and it would have stopped me. And then I wouldn't have done anything else because I would have been so scared of the rejection, I can't move. And then once you start to become self-aware, then you start to, nothing affects you. And then you start to realize, wow, I didn't have to react to that. Or, wow, that didn't hurt me like it used to. And then you get to a point where not only are you not reacting and not getting hurt, but you're actually able to turn the circumstances around. Whatever circumstance is in front of you, whatever somebody is, if somebody's rejecting you, you're able to use that to your advantage because you get more creative, because you understand what's happening, not only to yourself, but you understand why they are saying what they're saying, or why they're reacting the way they're reacting. Because once you get to know yourself, you start to understand people without them even explaining, because we're all humans. We're all ticking the same. We all have the same emotions. So, I mean, it's really easy to start understanding people at that point.
Yeah, and I heard like my business partner was teaching me. He's like more experienced in sales, and he taught me, like, when you know who you are and you can correctly identify who someone else is, who they're being, and what kind of like fears or blocks or whatever they might be going through, they're like, damn, you see through me, like you got the I'm wearing the emperor's clothes and you're the one who's like pointing it out kind of thing. It's like when you can correctly identify who you are, so you don't have to like be concerned about that, you don't have to be fearful of being insecure or whatever else it might be, then you could totally have the focus on them and like be knowing who they are, and that's like the most powerful place to be.
You nailed it. Exactly. It helps with sales so much, because you're right. Instead of focused on, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Or what am I going to say in that meeting? Or I wonder how if they're going to like me. Instead of being clouded with your own self-judgments, you're able to just give yourself freely to whoever you interact with, because you're not worried about rejection. You're not worried what they think of you. You're not worried about what's going to happen next, because you know you have yourself to rely on. Anything can happen, and you're going to beat whatever comes your way. And so, yeah, he nailed it. The other thing that really helps is you become this person that will ask for it, because most people will give it to you. Most people will give you that business. Most people will give you that job. You just got to ask, but we don't ask because we're so worried about being rejected. But when you're self-aware, rejection doesn't exist.
Yeah, I love it. And it's all like a dance, rejection doesn't exist because it's just a dance. It's just the words being exchanged. And when we don't take it personally, like you were saying earlier, when you don't let it like hurt us, that's the most powerful place to be, is knowing that, hey, this is like, it's people's programming. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the dance of sales. They make an offer, you make an offer, they counter offer, and it's like, don't take it personally. It's just like, this is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if you're trying to market your business and online marketing or creating content.
Yeah.
When you're self-aware, you are really able to be vulnerable, and people love vulnerability because that is what connects us. We all have the same fears. We all want we all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. We all want to feel important. And when you are vulnerable with your own needs and your own fears and your own wants, and you express it to others, it touches people's emotions like no other. And that's exactly how that's how content will bring people to your business, is by inspiring them or touching their emotions in a way that people that aren't vulnerable can't do. But you could only be vulnerable if you are self-aware.
Yeah.
And it goes with dating too. I mean, to get, if you're single and you want to mate, I mean, to be able to connect with these people, you need to be vulnerable and open and be okay with being hurt or being rejected. And you could only do that if you're self-aware.
I love that you said that, because I met my girlfriend last year in February, right? So we just hit our 1-year anniversary. I met her at a mastermind in the Trump Hotel, right?
Nice,
and
perfect.
In Las Vegas, right? And we had an amazing experience. And then we come down at night to the bar, and we're like, just hanging out and talking, just us two. And we're like talking, and somehow I ended up getting into a like guided meditation by her, right? Her name's Petia. She's a meditation teacher, women's transformation coach. And somehow I get into a guided meditation by her, and we like go into my past and like childhood wounds and like, with my dad and stuff. And she's just like opening me the F up, right?
Yep.
But I couldn't have been that open unless I had done so much work on myself and started sharing myself without like fear of rejection. Because up until that point, I'd shared some deep and intimate things with other people, so that when it came to her, I wasn't like fumbling over my words in that like, I'm so afraid. Like, if you reject me, what will I do? No, I was like, this is who the fuck I am.
Yes.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Yep, that's right. And that's the other thing. When we don't know who we are, or let's say we kind of know who we are, but we don't accept ourselves because we think these traits that we have are negative, just because somebody from 7th grade told us something and we held on to it, type thing. So when we think these traits about us are negative, we tend to accommodate them on what they want. So if we're dating, we are going to mold ourselves to what that partner wants. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't even want you, but they want the person you've molded yourself into. And you can only do that for a little bit. It only lasts for so long. And so you're right. When you start a relationship with, hey, this is me, take it or leave it, that's when, number one, the person really is going to find you attractive. They're going to find you sexy as hell. You're going to be irresistible. And then 2, that's when it really works, because there's no hidden anything. It's all authentic. And so that comes down to, again, if you want love, if you want a relationship, know yourself. And then there it is.
So
You know, that's
what
just
is
one
what
part.
is the definition of like what is there a milestone? Is there a place to get to of okay, now I know myself. I'm done knowing myself. Like how do you know if you know yourself? Like I don't even know what the distinction is for me that, you know, I was able to attract the woman of my dreams. I'm curious like how do you know? How do you know when you've made enough progress? What is enough work? What kind of vulnerability or transparency? How can you like measure yes or no or check a box? Is that possible?
Yeah, and so I think the important thing is to remember is that it's never that you need work, because you
Mm,
are perfect the way you are now. You are
mm,
perfect. You are perfect. You're perfectly set up.
yeah.
You are beautiful. All your traits are beautiful. So it's not that you need more work or that you need to go find something or go find yourself more. It's
Mhm.
not about that. What it's about is experiencing and expressing yourself, facing this is a good quote to live by: facing the unknown and articulating it. So that means experience life, put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, but
Mm,
then share the vulnerability with the person you're with and with others. And then that will show you a little bit more and more of who you are. And no, I don't think there's ever a cap to self-discovery nor
mm,
to knowing who we are. And the reason why is because we are supposed to be changing as humans, right? We evolve, we change. We're not supposed to be stagnant. And
mm,
so if you're always growing, if you're always evolving, there's always going to be change within you for you to discover. So
mm,
there's never a cap, but you do start to realize on this journey, wow, I do know myself. When for me it was, and for my clients, when I really start to see transformation in my clients, it's when they start accepting these flaws, these things they call flaws or these
mm,
bad traits within their personality. And that comes from one of my most ultimate mentors. He's a psychoanalysis. It's Carl Jung. He's dead, but he's still my mentor. He's one of my favorites. And I have a quote right here actually that says, until you make the unconscious conscious,
mm,
it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
mm,
So it's about bringing up all the stuff that you have deemed bad and using it in your personality. Let me give you an example. My whole life, I was embarrassed to let people know. I mean, there's many traits I was embarrassed about, but here's one: to let people know that I am obsessive. I didn't
mm.
want people to know that I get obsessed about things. So I pretended it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that's because my family would be like, oh my God, you're so obsessive. And they would talk to me like it was a bad thing. So I try to hide it.
Mm,
And it wasn't until I was able to say, I am fucking upset, trying to date a guy. I'd be like, yeah, I'm obsessive. I might get obsessed with you. Who knows? Until I was able to actually say that and be okay with it,
yeah.
then I didn't know myself until then. So when you're
Mm.
able to speak your flaws in front of anybody and be okay with it, that's when I think you truly know yourself.
Mm. Wow. And I'm sure there's like deeper levels too of
Oh, yeah.
how much you can like accept that. And there's I think there's always new layers and levels of what has been running the show, like and then being able to communicate your like victory over that or being more powerful than that and declaring that that no longer has power over you and that I love and accept that about myself, you know? And I think
Yeah.
I think the lazy one, right? Entrepreneurs often say like, oh, you know, I don't want to be lazy, and there's a fear of like not doing enough, not being enough, not achieving enough. For me, I was like, I love being lazy. It makes me efficient. It makes me like I want to develop processes and put things in place and let it freaking go, make me money. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of people who would bring shame to that, but I know that that's one of my strengths, and it's also a
Yeah.
double edged sword in
Yep.
being like if I let it go too much, then I can just sit around and sleep all day because I'm cool with that, you know?
Yep. Yep. No, you're right, Chris. And if you were trying to pretend you weren't lazy, if you
Mm,
were trying to pretend that didn't exist in you, there's two things that will happen. One, you're going to get lazy when you really don't need to be, or
yep.
you're going to be lazy no matter what. You're just
Right.
going to lie to yourself and pretend you weren't.
Yeah.
But you know what? The most awful thing about that is you start judging other people for being lazy,
Yep.
because whatever you judge in yourself, you judge in others.
Mm,
And that's the worst part of it, because look at how much pain and how much negativity and darkness that brings when you're judging yourself and then you judge others.
mm,
So yeah, it's about embracing those things that you feel make you inferior. and using them and embracing them and being proud of it. Even like I'm anything that's negative about me or that I deem negative or whatever, I'm so proud of. And a lot of times they are my biggest strengths now. Like you were saying, it's one of your strengths. That's the other thing. What a lot of times what we think is holding us down or that we think is bad about us are going to end up being one of our superpowers. I've seen it in me. I've seen it in my clients. I've seen it in the people around me. It's our superpower.
Yeah. What is the biggest process that you recommend for your clients to understand themselves, to really define and build a relationship with their inner self? Is it the nature or is it a combination of things?
Yeah. Okay. So actually in my contract, the very first thing in my contract that I send over to my clients is I cannot work with you if you cannot commit to spending a half an hour in nature every day.
Wow.
I won't work with them. And if they don't commit to a half an hour every day, 7 days a week, for as long as we work together, hopefully for the rest of their life, I cannot commit to you. And the reason why is because it's spending time alone. A lot of people, you would be amazed at how many people could not spend time alone. I mean, we're talking about people our age and older that have never spent time alone. And that is the very beginning of it. If you cannot spend time alone, start spending time alone and in nature. And if you don't live by the forest, ocean, whatever, if you live in New York, you could go outside on the sidewalk and just pay attention to the trees or the leaves. It could be as simple as that. But definitely start with nature. But no, there's much more to it. And it's much more than affirmations. It's much more than speaking in the mirror and empowering yourself. Because, I mean, yes, I love that stuff, but it needs more than positive psychology. Yeah. And I think there is a process that we do, and it's all about practical exercises that we could do to bring up. It's about bringing traits up to the light. It's about bringing up negative traits and positive traits. And what it comes down to is actually doing writing work to figure that stuff out. So we do a lot of writing work, a lot of practical, easy exercises that really just bring up things that you never would normally think about. And actually seeing it written on paper. And that's where I think the transformation comes.
I love it. I love it. That's powerful, Denette. And Lisa said, more is revealed over time. Girl, I am turning my it into my superpower. So she's developing that. And I love that, just really taking that, whatever we've been, I like to think of the beach ball analogy, like when we're trying to keep a beach ball down and there's all these different beach balls that we're trying to keep underneath the water, like underneath, from floating up. And it's like, it can get so exhausting and you can't keep them all down. They're going to, these beach balls keep coming up and like, what are you going to do? Grow an extra arm? No, it's like, you're going to drop some balls and it's like, well, just let the freaking balls go and just enjoy. Hey, I know that's there. I know that's there. I know that's there.
Yes.
Now, how do I navigate life with this? And it sounds like having some powerful processes to be aware of those and understand what those are, to have clarity, allows people to move forward with power. And they get that, especially working with you, Denette.
You know what? That's a great analogy. That's great. I've never heard that. That's really good. I think I'm going to steal that. I'll give you credit though. I'll give you some credit. I'm really proud of you, Lisa. If you can hear me, I'm so proud of you to use whatever it is you feel like is your negative trait or whatever, and you're going to use that as your superpower. You know why? Because many people are not brave enough to do it. Many people are so scared of looking inward because of what they'll find, because they think it's negative, because of their family, because of their upbringing. They could have a horrible upbringing and been told all these lies. And then they're just so afraid to look inward. So it takes a lot of bravery to look inward. But when you do, it is what will change your life in every single way. And so good job, Lisa. And if you don't mind, comment what it is your it. I would love to know, because I'm sure I have it too. And then we could be it together. Hopefully.
The it squad. I love
The
it.
it squad.
Getting that support is like everything, like understanding that, hey, we're not alone. We're human, humans have the same like reactions, same emotions, just might be to a different it, and I
Yes.
think that's so important to understand, is that we're not alone. We're not misunderstood. That was one of my biggest things, is thinking that there's nobody else like me. Nobody gets me. Nobody
Yes.
understands me,
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, Chris. Oh, me too, for so long. But Gary Vee actually
Mm,
made a video about this too, and this is something that I did myself, and it actually created business for me without even
mm,
trying. And what it is whatever you feel, and I recommend this to all you guys. Please do this. Whatever it is you feel that makes you a bad person, or makes you awkward, or makes you different, or makes you crazy, because that was my thing. I thought I was fucking insane for so many years, that I didn't want to share my feelings, because I thought everyone was going to be like, that chick is nuts, which they are. It is that way. But now I'm like, yeah, I want to be nuts. Now I embrace it. Now it's my superpower, which I thought what used to be what held me down.
mm,
But the thing is here, whatever that thing is for you, get on video and tell it and speak
mm.
it and put it on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
Put it on social media. Whatever it is that makes you the most weird, that makes
Mm.
you the most crazy, make a 1-minute clip or under. That way people stay engaged.
Yeah.
And literally put all your whatever demons or whatever you want to call it out, and watch. You are going to see how many people feel the same way you do, how many people done the same thing you've done, and how many people felt like they were alone too, but because you took leadership and expressed it first, you have healed yourself now, but you also healed all those other people. The way I look at it is, whatever I've done or whatever I feel or think, there's millions of other people that have done and feel the same way that I do.
Mm.
We're never going to know, though, until we are vulnerable to put it out on social media. We have social media. It's a tool to heal yourself.
Yeah.
You can literally use social media as a healing tool to let go of all that emotional baggage. And you do that by letting people know what you've done.
That's powerful. And especially if they need to get coached up to that point, because not everyone's ready for that level of self-expression and vulnerability. Ideally, it's like, go fucking dive in. And if they need support on that, can they contact you, Denette? Can they share with you what they're working on? Can they ask for your support for that?
Yeah, you know what, Chris, that's great that you say that, because one of my clients, she is an entrepreneur trying to build her business online solely. So she needs to make content. And she really struggled with getting on camera. Her confidence, she's a really confident woman, but her confidence would go away on camera. And it's because she was so worried about being judged. And so, yes, that's why she hired me, and we worked together. Now this girl posts a live video or a video every single day on social media. And it all started by, we did our exercises, our paper exercises that I have in my curriculum. I wrote out this curriculum. It's called the Ultimate Journey to the Inner Self course.
Wow.
And it's this 33-page course that just practical tools that will guide you into authenticity, self-discovery, self-acceptance, more confidence. It eliminates emotional baggage, all of that. And so, yeah, it was a slow process that we worked up to. And then she started putting more things that she didn't feel comfortable with about herself out there, like on video. And all of a sudden she just started healing. And now she's killing it. And it's awesome. It's so beautiful to see. It's like, you know what, that I would have never been able to experience that if I weren't vulnerable with my insecurities in the beginning. And it all comes down to that, being vulnerable with your insecurities.
Yeah, that's powerful. We have Paul out in the audience, said everything is connected to everything. Everyone is connected to everyone. So I think that, seeing that reflection of ourselves in others is I love how you said, when you expose like that fear, the insecurity, you give other people permission to do the same, to go be courageous. That's like one of the best acts that we can do or actions that we can take, is just say, hey, this is who I am, take it or leave it. And then it gives other people permission to just be themselves.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You start seeing it right away. People, and then, do you know how much that sparks? I mean, we may look at it as, okay, this person is being an individual, or this person is going against the grain. And we might not care about that by itself. But when you think about it, that's exactly how things are invented. When people go against the grain, when people are express their craziness without caring what other people think, that's what heals. And that's what innovates. That's what creates change. So it's a bigger effect than just, oh, okay, she's authentic or he's an individual. It's much bigger than that. And who said that about everything is connected and everyone is connected?
Paul McFarland.
I mean, Paul, no, exactly. And that's why I always say, that's why I'm always big on, if you want to know relationships, if you want to know business, if you want to know love, if you want to know healing, all of that stuff, bypass studying that individually and study yourself, because it's all connected. Because all of that is byproduct of man, right? Of human. All of the like money, businesses, love, relationship, that is byproduct of just being human. Yeah. So why would we study the byproduct when we could study the thing that made it? And because we're all connected, I don't need to study the person that made something. I study myself and I'll understand the person that made something. That means I'll understand whatever that person made. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's okay. What I hear is being aware of the tendencies that we have in ourselves allows us to be non-judgmental about ourselves and be have an awareness, have a connection to, have a acceptance to whatever, demons or positivity, so to speak. And then when we see others who are behaving in positive or negative ways, we are more connected to that because we have come to accept that it's a part of ourselves as well. And we don't judge or, push it away or try to avoid it or, make it wrong. We just like, oh yeah, that's there. And when we see someone else cut us off, and we see, that there's people out there who are doing like crazy acts of violence and, like bad stuff, it's like, well, they're fucking hurt. Hurt people. And I'm not going to get all worked up like, oh, why are they doing that? I think, it's interesting because we get to source our passion and our drive from quote unquote injustices that are going on in the world, right? Like poverty, or, a lot of people take up, causes like women who've been abused and different stuff like that. And it's like, it's interesting because we want to come from this place of wholeness and acceptance, and we also have what we see as not right in the world that we want to do something about. We want to stand for the opposite of it, the purity, the love, whatever it might be. So I think it's an interesting dance to understand our purpose and what drives us and what we don't want in the world, as well as coming to accept and love all aspects of life.
That is key. That is so key. Like accepting and loving all aspects of life. And you know what that brings up? I remember when I first started doing this self-discovery, one way I was able to figure out what I didn't like about myself, because sometimes we lie to ourselves for so long that we have no idea what we're lying to ourselves about, or what we don't even like about ourselves. It just manifests through what's going on in our reality. I mean, it shows that we don't like ourselves. Other people see it, but we don't see it. We don't realize it. So a good tool, the tool that I use, that I have my clients do is, and I don't even know if there's a better tool than this, honestly, to see what you don't like about yourself. Pay attention to what you judge. Whatever you judge is what you are judging in yourself. And you could jot it down. You could start realizing it. Okay, I think that guy is a loser because he's not making this certain amount of money. Well, that shows me right there that my value is in how much money I make. And if my value is in how much money I make, if that's taken away, what happens to me? That means my whole worth as a human is gone. That's the exact place you don't want to be, because if your value is in something external, all of that is going to be taken away at some point. Whether it's a husband, a wife, even children, your children move on. So if your worth is in your children, and when they move on, well, then there goes your worth. So pay attention to what you judge, and that's exactly what you're judging in yourself. And that's a good start into doing the transformation into accepting yourself.
That's so powerful. I love how you said, it's like one of the most powerful things that we can notice, right? It's a tool of, hey, what is triggering me? I think that's like a good question too. What externally or about myself is triggering me? When I get triggered, then I'm no longer in control. I'm on autopilot. I'm in
Yep.
reaction mode. I'm no longer like the observer. I'm no longer the pure consciousness. I'm no longer
Yep.
the presence, the witnessing presence. I'm in like reality and being dictated by what's in reality. And like at a higher level, we become energy, we become vibration, pure source, pure spirit. And it's like, if we are defined, our emotions, we allow the external to define us, then we are being the victim. Ultimately, at the like the most essential level, we are being the victim to what is happening outside of us versus being the creator.
Oh, you nailed it. Yeah. And then once you start becoming the creator, I mean, that's just what it is. You're a creator. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to
That's
create,
right.
right?
That's
I mean,
right.
in every religion or spirituality, they say, I mean, I think like every religion, it says, like, you are created in that God's image, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that God may be, you're created in that image. That means you're here to create, because we were created somehow, right? So yeah, we're here to create. But if everything else is dictating our worth, yeah, we're not creating anything. And that means we are going to go through the same cycle and the same problems for 15 years. You're going to have the same exact problem, just a different circumstance and a different person. And that's when real pain comes in. That's when you're dying inside. And that's when you are living a life that's not you, because I don't think any of us are born bad. I don't think any of us are born bad. I think if we do bad things, it's because we lost who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like it's a wound. It's a wound.
Yeah.
We're operating out of a wound, So it's like at the deepest level, we're still that person, but the identity has been constructed that we are a product of that wound. We need to be tough. We need to be macho. We need to, be wealthy. We need to be powerful. All these different things. It's like status and achievement or whatever might be driving someone. It's like, you're so right to understand who we are and get reconnected to us is so important. I wanted to ask you, Denette, in terms of, helping one person at a time and making the difference with who and what you can with where you're at, and the desire to make a huge impact in the world and like leave a legacy and be influential and that kind of stuff. How is your relationship with that? Or when people come to you and they say, I want to change the world, does that bring anything up for you? Do you support that, or do you say, hey, you're focused on the wrong thing? I'm just curious about your perspective.
Yeah, when people tell me, I just had somebody message me yesterday and said, look, I'm working on projects because I have this crazy dream. I want to change the world. So when I hear that from people, I love it. I mean, we need to think that big.
Yes.
We don't serve ourselves or anybody around us or the world thinking small. And so if you think I can't change the world, well, then you're definitely not going to change the world. But if you approach every day, I am going to change the world by just being me, well, then there's a good chance you'll eventually get there.
Wow.
The part is, though, is you can't give up. You can't give up when people start to criticize you or not believe in you. You just got to keep doing it. So I do think that it is okay to want and desire to change the world. But I also think it's important to realize you could start with just one person. You could start with one person and go from there. And then, because you get better and better at it, whatever you practice, you get better. So if you start changing the life for one person, then you'll get better and better at it. And so start small if you need to, or start big if you can, but definitely don't think small to where you can't change the world. I don't see a point in that.
I love it. It's like if we're here, we might as well think big. You know, we got one planet, one time on this planet, as far as we're aware. So it's like, look towards what is it? Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land amongst the stars, kind of thing. Like dream
Yeah.
for global impact, dream for changing the world, and take action on it every day with that
Yeah.
intention. And I love how you said change the world just being yourself, just by being me. Is that
That's
is that
it.
is that possible? Don't I need to be something or someone else to do that? It's like, no, just own who the fuck you are.
Yeah, just own it. But you can't own it until you
Mm,
understand yourself. You
yeah,
can't own
yeah.
anything until you understand yourself. And yes, you can literally change the world by just being you, and
Mm,
actually get paid really good money just being you. I mean, what else do we want? What other than being accepted and loved for who we are and getting paid for it? There's
mm,
nothing else we really want. And making it changing lives while we're at it,
mm,
because I truly believe this. If you are truly who you are,
mm,
you automatically change the lives of the people around you, because that is what we're here to do. Because our life is not about us. None
mm,
of us. My life is not about me. Your life isn't about you. Our life is about everybody else around us. But the only time that we could give them value is if we are truly us. Because there's a reason why there's only one of us. There's a reason. And there's a reason why we need these needs that we want. There's a reason why we feel so good helping people.
mm.
And the only way to truly do it, to create change, is by being really your authentic self. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and also, when you're owning your gifts, I think
Yeah.
a portion that I wanted to like really make sure that we highlight is when you're owning your gifts and you're doing what lights you up, right? And I think the only way to be the brilliant, beautiful, dazzling star that each and every one of us are in our
Yep.
own rights and
Oh, yeah.
capacity,
Yep.
is to, one, know what lights us up, what we're passionate about, and then two, get rid of those, or acknowledge, so to speak, the blocks and the parts of us that we don't like, and like just say, hey, that's a part of me. Accept that, embrace that, because then it loses its power. This fractioned aspect of ourselves, this isolated aspect of, oh, I'm lazy, that's not who I am, I don't want to be that, then I put so much energy into keeping that beach ball down, and so
Yeah.
I'm not able to like really focus on shining and serving and being with people. But if I've come to this place of just accepting myself and loving myself, then I could say, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Here's what I love helping you with this. Can I help you
Yeah.
with this and get paid? Sure, let's do it, let's rock it, awesome. And it's like continuously doing that and amplifying that energy, that momentum of being that person who knows you get paid great money to do what you love, and talk about and be who you already are. And I think that's so amazing. Such a powerful time that we're living in, to just
Uh,
be ourselves.
Especially, we have the internet. Look what we're doing right now. We have
Yeah.
social media. We
Yeah.
are so blessed, and so we're such in a perfect time to be who we are and get paid for it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for entrepreneurs. I mean, like for example, the director of marketing position I have right now.
Yeah.
Um, when I went in for that interview, I went in for a whole different position.
Mm.
But I went in that interview as me. I didn't try to pretend anything just because they are an employer or because he was the owner. I was not trying to change myself to fit his needs, because then I knew I would be in a job that I hated. So
Yep.
it's like I go in, I'm in your face. This is me. Hire me if you like it, or hire me if you don't. And what ended up happening, because I was so me, he was like, I think I need someone to make content for me. Literally, like it went down like that. So now I am getting paid just to be me, like make content of what I think is valuable content and put it on social media. And I wouldn't have been able to get that opportunity if I didn't go into this job interview not changing myself, not doing anything. I was literally just me. So it works for non-entrepreneurs too. You will land a dream job if you realize who you are and then express it in an interview. You're not for everybody, so don't think you are. I mean, that's the thing that took me a long time to realize when I started becoming truly expressive of my own needs and desires. I thought everyone was going to love me just because, oh, look, I'm really being me. You have to love me, when really it's not you're not for everybody. I'm only for a certain amount of people. And then somebody else is for a certain amount of people. And then it's all connected towards the end. But so don't worry about if somebody doesn't see your value when you're yourself.
Mm.
Is the point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you're with yourself and in nature, you just there's no other way to be, just the other ways, the old like masks that you used to wear just become unappealing. They become like, nah, that's not me. Like it just starts to feel more and more like fake. And I think at that level, it's like, who the F do I want to be? Okay, I know who I am. Let's go be that. Let's go own it. It's difficult. It's challenging. It can take courage sometimes to really like accept and embrace and own all aspects of ourselves. But like that's really where the joy lies, and people can feel that. Their emotional guidance system leads them, eternally towards that being, towards that presence.
Oh, big time. We all have it. It's guiding us. We know there's another quote. There's another good quote. It says right here, it says, at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. I mean, it's so true, but you can't, if you're so busy trying to satisfy everybody else or spend time with everybody else or be what everybody else would like of you, you don't understand that voice, what's going on inside. You don't hear it. You don't pay attention to it because you're so busy trying to do what everybody else needs of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, you're right. You have the answer. It's already in you. That's what's amazing about it. That's why I say you don't need to go find yourself, or you don't need to go get better. You're already great. It's already in you. You're already like top notch. It's just about letting it come out. I don't think we have any negative traits. All these things I thought was negative about me. Like I used to really I think I was lazy too. I had this big thing about being lazy, and I thought I was lazy. I thought I was obsessive. I thought I was, which is a great trait. It's
a burning fucking desire. Let's go.
Yeah. And now I'm like, okay, I want that. I'm going to get it. And yes. Before I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessive. There's something wrong with me, So all these traits that I thought were horrible, actually there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a bad trait.
That's powerful. I love it. And this brings up for me, like I would play so many video games growing up, right? And like I had this big epiphany when I discovered entrepreneurship and when I graduated college. I'm like, I just sunk like years of my life into video games. Chris Burns, you fucked up. God, you just threw away your life. Like, what did you do? Now I suck at leadership. I suck with people. I suck at life. I was so full of regret and guilt and shame. It was the worst. And I like really had to grow back from that. And that's part of what brought today's topic of having fun and being fun, like remembering how to have fun, because I like had to remember what fun was like, because I had shut that part out of my life. I said, I'm not going to have fun anymore. I wasn't made to have fun. I was made to work my ass off and just go grind it out and build the fucking empire and have the money and then have the cars and then have the women, have the adventure, that then I'll have everything I want. But like, I truly started to see that, dude, it's about here and now. Like, I'm not promised tomorrow. Like I really get to own how much fun I have, and also all the gifts and abilities that I had about like video games, the intense focus, the obsession, the willingness to cut everything and everyone else out of my life because I was so hungry to play video games.
No, that's so right. That's so right, Chris. And as I say, there are no negative traits. There is a such thing though as negative what's that word? It's habits. Yes. So you can have negative habits, but that doesn't mean there's anything negative within you. Like it's not a trait that's making a negative habit. So there are habits that are hurting your life from you seeing what you want to see, but it's not the traits that are hurting your life. It's not that you're obsessive. It's not that you're even possessive or jealous or controlling. You could actually use all of those traits to your advantage. It's not about that. It's it's you could use those, but it's, yeah, bad habits will definitely break you. But like you said, you had a bad habit,
Yeah.
but through that bad habit, you discovered all these great traits.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
That's
And
awesome.
I would like set up shops in the game, right? Like characters who would sell items on like street corners and like be a vendor, right? Like I had this like entrepreneurship muscle in me from the very beginning. And I
Oh,
was like, wow, that was all worthless. But like no, I got an
no.
idea of the market. I got an idea of how to position myself, how to accurately price and sell and all these different things. And I'm like, holy crap. Chris, good job.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
awesome.
Good.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is good job, Chris. That is awesome. But you
Yeah.
see, you could have chosen the other way. You could have chosen the way that a lot of people take, and that is beat yourself up
Mm,
and think you're a loser, and then never let go of that belief about yourself. In reality, it's literally just you holding you back. And that's why, again, I come back to, it's all about if you know yourself. Because
mm,
if you feel like you're being held back from not having enough money, or you don't have enough resources, or you weren't born in the right family, it's none of that shit matters. The only thing that matters is if you're holding yourself back. That's it. There is nothing or nobody else.
mm.
And that you made the choice to not let yourself hold yourself back.
Yeah. It's like it's radical ownership, and I think it's like it takes awareness and the willingness to say, okay, I'm no longer going to let that hold me back. I accept it. I love it. I love that trait. I boiled down the pain and the shame and the regret and the that I had about it into, hey, what was the seed that was good about that? What was the thing that that is the fuel to my fire today that can help me get to where I want to go? That is the foundational stone that is so freaking powerful. There might have been some crap built up on top of it, but clean that away, and you got an awesome piece of foundation there to build upon when used properly. When a proper
Yep.
foundation is added on top of it.
Yeah. And you know what? That also brings up another good point, which is it is a life strategy to focus only on the positive. There
Mm,
is never a reason, ever, in any circumstance, for any
mm,
reason whatsoever, to ever acknowledge the negative in anything.
mm,
Whether it's a
yeah,
person, whether it's I mean, that goes for people that you're coaching, or people that you look up to, or your family, or
mm,
people, your friends, your circumstances. There is never a reason to look at any negative. It doesn't grow you, it doesn't make you better, it doesn't make you prosper. It is a
mm,
life strategy to focus on only the positive in every situation. And a lot of people might call that naive, but really it's a strategy. And
mm.
whoever thinks that's naive, it's probably a good idea for you not to associate with them, honestly.
So in terms of, I know that like my business partner likes to play the devil's advocate, right? And say, okay, that's the best case scenario. What if the quote unquote worst case scenario happens? Is the negative?
That's a really good question. No, I think brainstorming solutions to
Hmm.
possible problems is a little different than focusing on the negative, because that is just temporary. It's a
Yeah.
temporary mindset where and that's to be positive. You're
Yeah.
focusing on a temporary mindset to find a positive outcome.
Right.
Whereas focusing on the negative, it's a little bit more long term, and
Mm,
it's not so much focusing on a positive outcome. It's
yeah.
more just there's no strategy behind it.
Mm,
To whereas when you're playing devil's advocate, there's a strategy,
mm,
there's intention, and when
yeah.
you focus on negative, there's no intention there.
Mm,
So that's the difference.
yeah.
That's
That's
a really
powerful.
good question.
Yeah, yeah, and then also with the negatives, what I'm hearing is like if they're quote unquote negatives, right? Whatever negative traits, right? Things, aspects of our lives, time periods that we feel were negative, like
Yeah.
oh he treated me bad, she treated me bad, whatever, I was taken advantage of, blah
Yep.
blah blah. It's like if we declare that as like a negative, then we can't find the seed of the better thing. Or I treated him bad, I treated her bad, I whatever. It's like we can really look for like what wasn't getting fulfilled there, what can I learn, how can I get the gem, the piece of wisdom from this that I may not have seen before.
Yeah. No, that's right. And that's what's going to keep you evolving.
Mm.
And sadness and depression come when you are stagnant.
Mm.
That's what it comes down to. And I realized that when I spent time in nature. Nothing in nature is stagnant. Not
Mm.
one single thing outside in nature, with animals, with nature, everything it's always moving. It's always changing.
Wow.
So that is what I think causes our depression and sadness, is when we stay stagnant.
Yeah. I love this. Denette, we are beginning to wrap up now. And if there were, some highlights that you wanted to recap on, or things that you really wanted our audience to receive and take massive action on because of this interview, what are those? Let's recap those or go into those now.
The one thing I want you to take away and remember this is that there is nothing that you could think, do, say, or have done in your past that somebody else has not thought, said, or done. I don't care
Mm.
how bad you think it is, how negative you think it is. So until you share it with other people, you're gonna hold yourself hostage in that shame and that guilt. When you start to let people know what you've done or said, you're gonna feel a release of shame and guilt. So share, be vulnerable, and share what you've done. And the other thing is, the main thing to remember is, if you truly have you, that is all you need. If you got you got it. You need nothing else, because you are that badass, and you are that powerful. And go inward to discover that, and you'll change your life and the people around you. That's it. Get to know yourself, but embrace everything about you, because there's nothing bad about you, and there's
Mm.
nothing pathetic about you. There's nothing ugly about you. There's nothing bad about you. And I don't even need to know what you've done or who you are to know that.
Mm. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Denette, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. How can our audience connect with you? What are the next steps that they can take to continue their journey with you?
I'm really active on social media, so the best way is connect with me on Facebook, and also you could see the kind of vulnerability I put out, all the crazy crap. I just put something crazy today. Everyone's like, it was so crazy to put it out, but everybody was like, yeah, people get inspired by it anyway.
Yeah.
So if you want to see some craziness, connect with me on Facebook. But yeah, Facebook is the best way. I could tell you, go to my website. I could tell you, email me, but I don't need any of that. Just go to my Facebook and we'll connect. And I'm sorry, I was so dark. It's so dark in here. And you can't even see my face, but you'll be able to see it if you connect with me on Facebook. And next time you and I, Chris, next time we have a conversation, I'm going to be in some good light.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Denette. I hold you to that. I believe it. And everyone, definitely connect with Denette. She is a powerhouse. Denette, can you give your Facebook, or how people would find you on Facebook, either the URL or spell your name for them?
Yeah, you could find me on Facebook at Self Journey Events, or because we have some Self Journey events that we do events in person that does self discovery. But cool. My name, it will be under Denette, Denette, Marie is my middle name, Marie. Last name Covarrubias. That's the other thing. Talk with energy. Put energy behind your words, and people will be like, "Ooh, that girl is influential, man." All you got to do is put some energy behind your words, and then people just are drawn to it.
They pay attention. They start listening. I love it. So it's Denette Marie Covarrubias is how they can find
Chris.
you.
Yeah. Are you a Spanish speaker? That was good.
I speak some here and there.
Yeah, that was really good. Nice.
Thank you. Well, I super appreciate you being here. Love your fire, your tenacity, your presence, and it's just like so beautiful and powerful. And I'm super excited to see what you create moving forward. This year has so much in store for you. I'm excited.
I love your leadership skills, and I love your ability to really empower everybody. You have not one jealous or envy bone in your body, and it shows by you always want people around you to do good, and you want them to do even better than you. I think that brings you joy, and so I appreciate that in you. So thank you for being in my life.
Thank you, Denette. I appreciate you. I love you, superstar. We'll see you soon. Okay.
I love you. I love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.